Hey everyone, welcome to Birds of a Feather. Today we're working on a pegboard project. We're going to use some of this pallet wood. I've got a variety of colors of Dixie Belle chalk paint here that we're going to be painting. And lastly, you can't see this because it's clear, but I've got the stencil here and we're going to be using that to stencil a riot of colors onto this pegboard. I've got my stencil taped into place and I've got everything numbered according to the color that I want to use. So this is going to be number 1. This is actually Colonel Mustard. I'm going to give that a good shake. And I'm going to peel that off. I'm just going to need the tiniest bit of paint. I'm going to make sure the brush is good and dry. And then I'm just going to come and get it into the center. And then I'll just pounce in from the edges here. As long as you're straight up and down, you shouldn't have any bleed. I'm just offloading onto a paper towel here, just to make sure the brush is nice and dry. Okay, I'm just going to let that dry a few minutes. I'll probably do another coat right away. It's going to dry very fast because it's dry brushed. So we'll be right back after the second coat. So the second coat is done and I'm just going to peel this up. And as you can see, when you use a dry brush, you get nice crisp edges and you don't have to use adhesive. All I did was tape it down in 2 spots here. And there you go. Nice crisp lines. That's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to give that a few minutes to dry and then I'm going to come along and do another color, not even beside there. I'll probably go here just to give that some time to dry. So I'll just come along and put that over as so. I'll just tape that down. I've got my number 6 there, so I'm going to grab my number 6 color of paint. This one is Tea Rose. I'll give that a shake and do the same thing. I'm going to dry brush that on. I'm not using any adhesive whatsoever. I'm just using some tape to hold it in place as I pounce it on. So I'm going to do this all off camera. I don't think you need to see me stencil each and every one of these. And then we'll be back for next steps. In between coats, if you like, you can come along with a baby wipe and just get off some of the excess paint. You don't have to do this. I'm just going to leave the outline on there so that I can actually see my acetate because it's clear and it does tend to get lost. So I'm just going to leave it and move on to the next color. As you can see, I've now done 4 sections and I'm keeping them separated so that I don't accidentally get paint on the areas that I've already done. I actually like the lightness and brightness of just doing 1 coat, so I'm going to leave it at that and not bother to do 2 coats on here. So I can peel it up right away. And there we go. Set that aside just for a moment and look how beautiful that's starting to look. The stenciling is now done, so I can set those aside, and all that's left to do is to cut my paint sticks as trim, glue them on, and then we're going to put some pallet wood on this as shelves. So that's coming up next. We're just getting set up and ready to cut. We're going to cut it at 24 inches and then we'll have 2 pieces.
That on our mark.
We're using a square to extend the 24-inch mark so that we can see where we're cutting. Measure twice, cut once.
Bring the blade down so it looks like it's right on the line. There we go, right on 24.
Perfect.
Do the same with this.
Yep. So you can use that one to mark it though, because you want it to be exactly the same.
We're going to line this up. Put this in. We're going to draw our line. Yep, that's pretty much right on. Piece is the same.
Yes. We're now ready to glue up these pieces. We've got our pieces cut to length, and I'm going to be using this Pro Bond Max glue by Elmer's. I'm just going to use this mini spatula to spread this. Looks like I might have a little bit too much here. I'll just remove some of the excess. Now I'm cheating this a little bit. It's not coming exactly to the edge. So I'm just going to glue this right to my line. And I've got these clamps here. I'm just going to bring this to the edge of my table. I'm just going to clamp this right on, and we can let that dry. Make sure you're staying on your mark. I'll just put a clamp at either end and one in the middle. Got my other piece for the other end. But first I'm going to glue this, and this is going to be the whole piece here. So I'll just turn this around so I can access it on the end of the table. I can just use whatever glue is on here just to get it off. And I'll run another bead onto here. And again, I'll spread it out. I have a little bit of debris on this table, so before you glue up, just make sure that whatever you're gluing onto is free and clear of any debris, and I forgot to do that, so let's just hope for the best here. Okay, so I'm just going to butt that right up, like so. And again, I'm going to add my clamps, make sure I'm even with the end. Just make sure you haven't slipped here. That seems to be good. So here's my next piece. Again, just make sure you're going to be even. Actually, I'm just going to put that in place just so that I can butt up against it. Before I glue that, I'm just going to give this a little bit of a sand. I've got some rough edges here, so I'm going to continue gluing this up. Rulers are now all glued and clamped, so I'm going to give it overnight to dry. And once that's done, I'm going to give it a clear coat. And then I'm going to cut my board down to 11 7/8 just to give it some clearance between these rulers here. Then we can add these special pegs. They're shelf supports. And we'll get our shelf on. And next time you see this, this is going to be a finished project. You'll see the reveal. Thanks for watching. For more upcycle ideas, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notifications of our upcoming projects.